Okay, it looks like we are live, and we're just going to wait a couple of seconds to get a couple of people on here, but we are definitely live. I'll just check my Facebook page to make sure that we are, but I think we are. Let's have a look here. People on here, but we are definitely live. Yes, we are. Right. Well, he is one of the most well-known New Zealanders, known all around the world, a true champion. His name is Simon Gault, and he'll be joining us at 8 o'clock. But in the meantime, we've got Eric Murray. Hello. Sorry. Don't walk away, Eric.
Oh, mate, I'd love some of his food. Can you give me some recipes? I'll tune in later and have a look. It'd be good.
Yeah, it'd be good, wouldn't it? No, I'm going to do a serious intro now. So, thanks for joining us. First of all, Eric, you're a legend. Eric Gordon Murray, MNZM, is a retired New Zealand rower and gold medalist at the 2012 London Olympic Games, as well as the 2016 Rio de Janeiro Olympic Games. He won 4 consecutive World Rowing Championship gold medals and set 2 world best times.
Yeah, I know. But surreal these days when I'm sitting here having a wine and...
Oh, my God.
You know what I mean?
It's Simon J. Gault.
He's probably asking, he's going, why aren't I on now?
Yeah.
He'll be kicking me off.
You're live on my show.
Yeah, hello.
Hi, you're live on my show right now.
Oh,
He'll be like,
how are you?
I can't get on.
I'm all good. Well, I haven't had an email from you.
I'm going to send. I'm just live with Eric Murray, and then I'm going to send the link.
All right. Well, I'll try. I'm pretty flat out too. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Thanks. Thank you, sir. Bye.
Mate, you got a lot of people on your books. We should be asking you the questions about all the different people and that you get on your books to go out and do all the public speaking.
I should what? Sorry.
We should be asking you about all the questions about how you managed to like grope all these different people into to get onto Essential Talent. That's for sure.
Well, that's a very good question. I think it just has a roll-on effect. I think you get somebody on and you build a bit of trust with them, and it's such a small country. And then it's sort of, someone will pass on to someone else. And I think that's all it really is, to be honest. It's such a small country, you can do it. Right, I'm getting into this interview. I can't believe Simon J. Gault just phoned just like that. How did it feel having to carry Hamish Bond for all those years?
Oh, yeah, mate. I still feel like I'm doing it now. No, honestly, mate, to be completely honest, it's really bizarre. And sometimes I do shake my head at it, how we actually work together because we're so different. We're so different, man. We got no idea. Like, I'm a complete optimist, she'll be right. Just go with the flow. And Hamish is so meticulous and just everything's got to be perfect. He's like the perfectionist, he's the real pessimist in the, I guess, in the partnership. And it was just crazy how we managed to work together so well. But the fact was, and he probably brought it up quite well at one of the speeches we did. He goes, it was quite early on, just after London. He goes, when someone asked a question, they said, how did you guys get together? And Hamish basically said, look, I know I'm the best rower in New Zealand, and I was looking for the second best, and Eric was the second best. And I went, hang on, mate, like, what are you on about? And it was basically the fact that you had 2 people who thought they were the best, and they were going to just be like, I need to find somebody else that can complement what I'm doing, and we're going to produce some magic. And effectively, that's really what happened. And basically from that, the rest's sort of history, to be fair.
Are you good mates? Like, do you still keep in touch now that it's all kind of finished, or are you just completely different people and have just gone, yeah?
Oh, we were always really different to start with, and I think that's what made it work. And I've seen it, dare I say it, you look at probably a few of the rugby players like the Richies and stuff like that, where he didn't want to flat with anyone else. He probably did when he was at uni, but then he just went, I'm going to be by myself. I'm going to be in my own little bubble. shall we say. And it was like, I'm going to do the right things for me to make sure I'm the best person. And that was sort of the same with Hamish and I. So we completely had two separate lives. So when we first got together in the pair, even when we were in the 4 pre the pair days, he was footloose and fancy free. I was with my partner at the time. So it was just, those different timelines in terms of your life and what you're doing. So of course, while he's going off to get on the bears, I was at home, and so we just sort of missed each other by that 4-year period. And so when we were at training, it was like 100% focused on making sure we were doing the best we can. And then when we left training and we went home, I didn't ring him up and go, mate, do you want to go for a beer, or do you want to go to the cafe, have a coffee? It was just, we left that sort of socializing together outside of it. Because when we went overseas, especially for the first few years, mate, we were 3 months in the same room. Like there is no rowing, to give you an example. Rowing's not like business class travel and all this. It's cattle class, squeeze everyone in. 2 to 3 people to a room in the beds we had over in Europe. Like, so most of them, if you've ever been to Europe, anyone's been to Europe, you go into the bedroom and there's like a king size bed sitting there, and you go, hang on, but it's 2 singles pushed together with like a mattress topper. So you take the mattress topper off, move the beds apart, bang. We were in the same bedroom in these hotels or wherever we were for 3 months. And so we spent enough time together in that 3-month period to sort of do the rest of the year. But that was probably the best part about it, was that we weren't living in each other's pockets all the time, because like ultimately when shit's going south or it's really tough, that's really where you start getting clashes from different people. And you see it all the time, not only just with athletes, but like an athlete coach relationship, and you hear about this friction and tension. We never really saw that because we didn't have to do that all the time.
So how many years were you together? Did you actually compete together?
10 years. So we did 6, 7, and 8 in the 4.
Yeah.
And then we went 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 in the pair.
So what other challenges did you come across in, getting to where you are today as a sportsman?
Tonks. Should I say Dick Tonks? Dick Tonks, he's the challenge.
Really?
Oh yes. Like I 100% hand on heart, I will sit there and go, Dick made us win an Olympic gold medal. Okay. Was it enjoyable? Not really. Could we have done it with anyone else? Probably not. Okay.
Why was that enjoyable? Explain.
Oh, mate, the sessions that he made us do, the lack of communication, the just the hard-nosed approach. So I use this all the time as an analogy. Okay, and everyone in the world's heard it. Your boss or your superior tells you to jump, and you ask how high. Okay, with Dick, he told you to jump. You would jump as high as you could, and you would keep going until he told you to stop, and you would never open your mouth. And that's what it was like. It wasn't. There was okay, and subsequently in the following years, we've seen a lot about fear and stuff like that have been in sporting organizations around athletes not wanting to speak up, or basically going, man, if I question what I'm doing, I'm going to get dropped from the team, and because you're on limited resources anyway, it's very difficult. So yes, it was just like a zip shut type of thing. Hamish sort of alluded to it one time as sort of being, it's probably not quite a PC term to say, but like a battered child syndrome. Like your dad was just mean to you all the time and just abusive to you, and all you wanted was that element of praise to say, well done, son. And we never, like, he even would win world championships and go, oh yeah, it's pretty good, but you could have done this, this, and this. So, and even,
did they piss you off?
Well, but what I'm saying is, like, you're winning world championships,
yeah.
And instead of going, well done, guys, it's awesome, can't wait to do it again next year,
yeah.
There was like criticism. Okay, and so the only time that there wasn't any criticism was at the Olympic Games. So, in all fairness, the fact was that he was still keeping us on our toes. So we'd go to our 1 month break after we came to the World Champs, and he'd go, and we'd still be sitting there going, damn it, there's still stuff we need to work on, which in all fairness, I look back on and go, man, the way that he did it was probably not great, but the fact was that did it make us better? 100%. You know, and that's what, when you look at, in terms of an Olympic sport, you look at a 4-year plan and a 4-year goal. He was looking at that 4-year goal, and that's probably the biggest thing about it. Was what didn't matter about each year in between. It was like, we're going to get you, we're going to start here, and what's the mass, like 1,320 something days until the Olympics. He was just working on that day of the Olympic final, you were going to be on fire so that you could come away with a gold medal. And that's basically what happened.
Did you respect him?
I respected him because, yeah, absolutely. Because the fact was that you've got this person, and I like, okay, we've got historical coaching figures in New Zealand, you know, and the biggest and most impressive is Arthur Lydiard. Okay, now I would possibly put Dick even higher than Arthur Lydiard from
Why?
what he's achieved, because he did 4 Olympiads. And if you look at the gold medals in between at World Championships, okay, athletics is different because it's like World Championships every 2 years, but Arthur Lydiard was similar in the same time period, but not as many gold, and not probably as much other people that were winning medals did he have his sort of finger in at the same time. And so if you look at that and you go Rob Waddell, Eva Swindell's twice, you know, Mahe, us, and then Mahe again, 5 Olympics, 5 gold medals, well, more than 6, 7 gold medals.
Why did you do this? Why did you choose this sport? Why did you decide to get up
I don't know.
in the morning and train? What drove you to do it? Was it always this Olympic medal? Was it wanting to represent your country, or did you were just good at it and just so, well, might as well just carry on? Or what was it that drove you?
Rowing's very addictive, and I don't know how it becomes so addictive. When you first start, I did it at school to get time off school, and I go and talk to the kids all the time. Guess what, guys? Go row. Couple of weeks off school. Thumbs up, you know. And then as you get better, like every day there's a learning experience, and you're always learning because training conditions are different. Racing conditions are different. What boats you race in are different. You know, you're not always just racing in the same one. You're at different clubs. You've got these environments. You've got these friends. You've got different times that you're racing. You know, whether it's first thing in the morning, last time at night. So there's so many aspects about it that are different. And you're always trying to improve. So you're getting better and better, and you do a lot of training, and then you start like getting amongst it. Should I say, not winning, but amongst it, and then all of a sudden you start winning, and then you don't win, and you try to win again. And so this is what happens all through, and then you step up different age groups or different classes. You know, you go from a senior to a premier, and then to an elite level. And so all of this just keeps progressing all the time. And so you just get fixated on it. You know, it's no different than people doing their sport and they get fixated on it and they want to be the best, and they get a sniff, you know, or they get into a development program, or they get into an age group team, or, you know, rugby like a Roller Mills, and then they get into an under 20s, and then they get, you know, it just keeps developing as you go through. And I was no different, you know, and I didn't make all the teams I went, especially in my earlier years, because I was pretty big and I didn't row that well. But then all of a sudden you start producing the times, and then you're in the program, then you're in a development, and then you're in an academy, and then you're in the team, and it just keeps flowing on. So you all you're doing is trying to progress all the time, but it takes so long to do it. You know, it's not like, oh, next week we'll try this, and then the following week we'll do that. It's like 3 months down the track, 3 months down the track. So you keep training, and every training, then you break that down and you try and be the best in each training. So basically you're trying to be the best all the time, even though you know it's not going to happen. And that's really how we worked it right through until you get to that elite level. And the one thing I always sort of point out to people as well, you know, we had this, you know, we created history in what we did. It's ridiculous. You know, it's probably, dare I say, in my lifetime, I don't think it'll ever get repeated ever again by anybody. And sometimes I shake myself and go, no, it can't be possible. And nobody's done it. Like, there's no winning streak at the moment in rowing, you know, and is it going to happen again to the extent that we did it? Shit, I don't know. And so you just look back on that and you go, wow, how did we do that? And it was just the fact that we learnt from those experiences early on. And as I say to people, like I went to Athens, then I went to Beijing, and then we won in London. So you take that into account, and there's 10 years, 12 years of rowing in between there where we're not really producing much to get to that point. So you get all these people going to the Olympics going, oh, I really want to win an Olympic medal at my first Olympics. And I'm like, look, it took me to my third Olympic Games to win a medal. Okay, it was
What
good.
were
I won gold. But
your strengths as an athlete and a person? You, Eric Murray. What were your strengths? What made? I mean, you should be able to look back on that and have a fair idea on what made you so great.
well, the one thing that I like, you talk to different parents and stuff at rowing regattas, and dare I say, all the speeches and stuff we do, where you talk about rowing being a sport where it teaches you a lot of life skills around dedication, punctuality, teamwork, that discipline, and all of those. I dare I say it, like my parents, they instilled a lot of that into me early on. Like I'm one of these kids, mid 90s, late early 90s, where I'm out working at 12, 13, like going down milking cows or picking fruit or whatever it was. And it was like, you have to do it because you committed to doing it. So I had a very good work ethic early on. And I just kept that flowing on. So I never quit. So I had that on there. Punctual, I was always there on time. I was always doing the right things. And basically that's just how it worked for me. And then ultimately I was competitive, and I loved that in competitive environment. So I got to the point where I'm trying to be the best all the time. I trained to do it. I wasn't backing down, and dare I say it, there I got to the point where I was the best in the country, and then
The best in the world.
just trying to be the best in the world. Like, and that's the thing though, I was best in the country, and like not even sort of top 6 in the world, not top 8 in the world. And so that's where you start working on it, going, well, how can I get better and better and better? And that's just the way it works.
How do you feel when you finally get up, after all those years of training, and you stand up on the podium and you've got the gold medal around you and you're hearing your country's anthem? What goes inside you? What goes inside your head at that moment when you're hearing the national anthem and you're reflecting on how you got there?
Yeah, it's a really cool emotion, because it's just a culmination of so much work. And when you don't, the one thing that we never had, which I think could be quite different, is that we were either not on the dais or we were winning. Okay, so we were never second or third. And that's quite an interesting element, because a lot of people, they get there to a medal, and then they go, I want to get the next one, and I want to get the next one. Where we only ever did that in a World Cup. We won a bronze medal, like that was our first medal internationally, like 2006. And then after that, everything else was like a gold medal. So you stood on the dais and you were like, I'm winning, And so, or if you weren't on the dais, you're not there watching these other people get the medal. So you're, I guess, compartmentalizing all the shit that went wrong because you're not there. And that's what we did sort of in that Beijing year, where we missed out. We were 4th in the semi-final. And then, of course, we're racing a minor final, B final, to try and get sort of 7th to 12th place. But apart from that, after that, it was just like, okay, try and get there. So every time you were on there, you're like, okay, the work that we've done is a tick in the right direction. What do we need to do from here? And that was basically the way that we did it, was just evaluating all the time. Okay, what do we need to do from this point onwards to make it better, to keep winning, or to make things better? And that was really sort of the philosophy.
When you've had that for so long, for so many years of your life, and you're still a young bloke, aren't you? 38, 39? Coming up to 39 in May 6th.
Yeah.
Research, see that? May 6th, am I right?
Yeah, 38. 38, buddy.
38. Oh, okay. 38.
Spring bloody chicken here, buddy.
But like, how do you sort of continue when that has been that drive every single day? How do you replace that now, or is that not important? Are you satisfied? Are you like, well, that was part of my life, I've got that out of the way? Like, do you wake up and miss it and go, shit, I wish I was out there really bloody training my butt off to get to the next one, or are you just satisfied that hey, we did what we needed to do?
Yeah, I'm pretty satisfied, and it was really to be fair. I read, so Mahe Drysdale did a blog the other day, and he put something in there which really resonated with me, and it was around my decision, because I was like, you know what, I feel like I want. So this is 2000 and end of 2016, 17. I had a knee operation because it had been bugging me for ages, bit of cartilage, from sort of just an injury, and I was sitting there and I kept rowing, and I was rowing. I was in the program. This was up until sort of end of February. It was after trials, and I remember rowing, and I was rowing with a guy that's now in the pair, and we were going pretty well and stuff like that. And I remember doing a row, getting off the water, going, I don't want to do that anymore. Can't be bothered. Like, it literally was just like,
Really?
I cannot see myself committing, because I saw the passion and the determination that this guy had. And he was just going, yeah, man, I can't wait for tomorrow. And he just had this hunger, like absorbing him, of like wanting to do the sport and wanting to be the best and wanting to win Olympic Games and stuff. And I went, I'm nowhere near that. I'm not even, you're not even in the same bloody building, mate. And so I was just like, you know what? And I'd sort of, because I didn't really have a goal, I wanted to sort of be in the Yates program, but I'm quite goal driven. So I was like, well, I want to go to the next one, but how does it look? Hamish was on the bike and all this. And I went, you know what? And then with my son, Zach, he's autistic, and I was going to school and I was doing stuff with him. And I just went, you know what? There's way more important things in life than just rowing, sitting on my ass, getting taxpayers to fund me to sit on my ass and bloody row. Okay, cool. I bring some enjoyment to people watching me win, but that's it for like a couple of races a year. And I was like, you know what? I really need to evaluate it. I don't have that hunger and the desire that these guys do anymore. I'm just going to be literally trying to go back and win another gold medal. For what reason?
So what's the most important thing in your life now?
Oh, definitely my boy. So Zach's like important, and I heard him hooning around before. So, he's good. He's playing a bit of Lego and doing this sort of stuff. But that's it. You just sort of realize that there's other things that are important, and that was probably my biggest catalyst to saying, look, I've done enough. I've had a great time. Do I want to be there anymore? To go back to your question that you said before, do I want to be there? 100%. When I was watching stuff online and watching these guys race, I'm like, man, I'd love to be out there racing. Do I know what it takes to get to that point, to be able to race, to be in that position, to be at the front of the field or be in the mix? Yep. Could I get there at the moment? Hell no. and that's the biggest part, is that we spent 99.99% of our time in the background doing what we were doing, training our ass off, punishing our bodies every day, so that for like one race every couple of regattas, 2 World Cups and 1 World Championships every year. Most people, this is the one thing, most people saw us for 3 races every year. That's it. Okay. Olympics, yeah, you get a little bit more because it's a 2-week period and you're hearing the names all the time, and then you come back and there's all this other stuff that goes on if you're successful. But that's it, and so for the rest of the time, we are absolutely hammering ourselves, failing back here in the shadows, so that when we come into the light, we can actually be in a position where people take note. And that's as simple as it is.
What sport do you like watching besides rowing these days? What's a sport that you'd go, I've got to watch that?
Oh, golf.
Oh, really? You do play a bit of golf, don't you?
I love golf.
Favorite golfer? Tiger Woods?
I love Tiger Woods, because of what he's done. And I can see sort of the similarities. But there's golf's such a cool sport, because you can be great one week and absolutely terrible the next week. And there's so many different characters, and they play out in different ways. You take the DeChambeau's, he's a Hamish Bond, okay? He is an absolute guy that just analyzes everything. It's got to be perfect, okay? And he just takes everything to heart. He takes even a good shot, he'll be like, could have done that better, And then there's people like the Phil Mickelsons. I'm probably like a Phil, where you're just like having a good time, trying to be serious at the same time, doing, like, he's done pretty well in his time, but he just continues on. There's so many different people like that in the sport of golf that come and go But it's an amazing sport. I love it, and I go out and play as much as I can. I'm trying to play a little bit more at the moment. But I tend to follow a lot of different sports. Rugby, it's sort of in our DNA, if you'd like to speak. I played it as a kid. I probably should have kept playing it, but I was, dare I say it, I was a loose forward in the same era as Richie. So I don't know if I would have managed to get out, Richie, you bugger. So yeah, but those, mate, I'm quite passionate about it.
How about basketball?
And I guess
basketball.
I don't really watch a lot of basketball or NFL, only for the big games and stuff like that. I just don't have enough time to sort of sit. Some of these games, they take such a good investment of time. Whereas, okay, you can say golf's the same, but you can just watch highlights and see some great shots.
With the NBA, my sons and I, we usually just, because we pay our license to be able to watch it, and we just watch the last 2 or 3 minutes of a quarter. We'll just look at the phone and go, "Oh shit, this is a good game." We'll sit down. Very rarely would we watch an entire game.
Yeah, and but see, this is the one thing around sport, and dare I say it, it's not only just like different sports like the NBA. It's rowing, it's running, it's all this. People have got to innovate and find a way that people are going to be connected to it. And no different than rugby. The fact people are going to sit at home and watch rugby instead of going to the game. Why? Because, man, it's a pretty expensive thing to go to the game and watch it, spend the food, take your kids. Okay, it's a cool night out. I'll agree. It's pretty cool when you go and you watch it live, but there's no commentary, there's none of this and none of that. So I guess, probably in the last month, everybody's been sitting there going, okay, how the hell are we going to make our sports relevant and do things from now on? Because ultimately you're going to get into a position where you stop people watching it and, whatever. And rowing's no different. We've got pressure from the IOC on, cutting numbers because we're a really big sport. Is it relevant? We get like the least TV audience out of anyone because, people sit there and go, okay, how long is this going to take? And so every sport's in their own different mind about how they can actually make things better. How does it work? It's life in general.
Hey, you've got to watch the Michael Jordan doco on Netflix. Have you heard about it? It's called The Last Dance. It was on last night.
Oh, okay, cool. Now I've been watching Tiger King.
Yeah, no, I did watch Tiger King. God, that's a hoot, isn't it? No, I tell you what, you being an elite sports person, I think you'd really enjoy it. Even though it's basketball, it was bloody fantastic. My eldest son and I watched the first 2 episodes last night. 2 hours. 2 hours of it was just fantastic. Really good.
I wish I'd done. I wish I'd done it. We were sort of. We potentially could have, and I look, like you look back on things in your career or whatever. We potentially could have done a doco on Hamish and I. It would have been bloody interesting. We'd sort of talked to Sky Sport at the time about it. Guy by the name of Murray Ellison. He was working with Sky and doing a lot of the editorial work and sort of as a producer. And he was like, "Oh, you guys keen?" And it was working up through that 2010 New Zealand World Champs and on to London and stuff like that. And I was like, "Yeah, man, I'm keen as." And Hamish was like, "No, shit, no." And it was no different when we wrote our book, The Kiwi Pair. Anyone, you can get online. Book depository, I plug it for myself, but no, as I say, Mother's Day, shit, when's that? It's coming up. So the fact was that, when somebody comes to you and they go, "Look, we want to talk about your life story and how you got to this point and you go into the Olympic Games," and they're asking you this in January 2016, and you're going, "Okay, we are 7-time world champions." Sorry, at that time, 8 times world champion, 1 Olympic champion, going for a second, are completely unbeaten. And you go, "Look, we want to put all this pressure on you of talking about your career so that the final chapter of the book can be about you winning the next Olympic Games." And you're going, "Mate, we're still 6 months away."
Why couldn't you do it now? There would be enough footage and actually sit down and reflect on your career, because it is an incredible story, really.
There potentially would be, but I just don't know whether it's a marketable, maybe for like a 60-minute special, but I don't know. It's I just don't know if there's that much background and whatever that they can do it on. But hey, maybe I do need to actually ask some questions because we could actually get some. But it's, as I say, rowing's not a mainstream sport. It's not great. Yeah, okay, we're known in New Zealand, and you go to different places, and everyone's like, oh, it's that rowing guy, it's Mahe, and I'm like, no, it's Eric. Thanks for noticing. It's bloody one of the things.
No,
I tell you what, there's one guy told me it was at a function we did, and he goes, and I said, mate, don't worry about it. It happens all the time. I'm Eric, Hamish, or Mahe. I don't really care. At least you know that we're a rower. And he goes, no. He goes, yeah. He goes, that guy, he's got such a real weird name that I remember the name. But then I saw your Mo, and I was like, oh, there's that rowing guy. And then I go, rowing guy, Mahe, put the two together. And I went, you know what? You're bang on. And it's two people that have told me that. And that's pretty much why it happened.
Hey, you have been more than generous with your time. You're a great guy.
That's right, mate. If you want to keep going for another 10 minutes, we're all good.
I just need to I need to send this invite to Simon Galt, that's all, because I couldn't believe that he phoned me up during the interview. So I usually send the link just before the interview. I better go because I don't want to upset him. Oh my God,
mate, that's all good.
I'm brushing off Eric Murray. How's that?
No,
hey,
no.
Let's have a round of golf. I'm really shit.
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah. Mate, we could tee up something with if you're that bad. What's that? Sorry.
You know my mate Graham Blake from Pan Media.
Yeah. So we've done a couple of things with him at Riverside.
Yeah.
We'll see. We could have we could rope something in with Phil Towdering because he's designing the Narrows, the Lochiel.
Yeah.
And I was doing.
Classic. Let's do it.
Mate,
I spend
no
time in the trees, and I'm in a team called the Woodies, and it's because we spend most of the time in the woods trying to find the balls. But I do love it. It is a great. I tell you that one shot. Even if you're a shit golfer like me, if you hit it and she goes up and it lands beautifully on the green, which is a very rare thing for me, you just go, I'm a golfer. I'll be back, even if the whole rest of the game is shit.
It is, and that's the thing about it is that, but that's what I fascinate myself about golf and watching it is that there is absolutely, it's probably very similar to rowing. I would say it's nearly every sport where there is no two events, no two anything that are the same.
Right.
They can be on the same course as they were like a year ago. They know exactly where the green is. They look at it and they try and hit the same shot and it goes in a different place. And the winds are different, the sun's different, the humidity's different. Like you've put your name on it. And all you're trying to do is hit that perfect thing. And most of the time it's luck, and you're just like.
Then the other frustrating thing is you can go out there and you can be driving like a demon, having the best driving game in your life. And then you get the bloody 5-iron out, and it just skids along the ground. Well, that's what happens to me anyway. And then it's a bloody nightmare. And then on other occasions you can be putting really well, and there's a lot to it.
Yeah, I guess like sport's an amazing thing, and whether it's golf or rugby or running or football or whatever, it does unite a lot of people, and I think that's. One of the things coming out of this lockdown will be a really interesting thing on how, not even, especially even with kids, a lot of them are just going stir crazy because they can't see their mates. And a lot of the time their mates are just going down to the basketball net down the road or down to the playground or the skate park and just seeing someone that they know at school and just even having that association, that acquaintanceship. And I think that'll be one thing that opening that up somehow, and when we open that up, will probably definitely help the younger generation of people. And you see it at the moment on Instagram and all the other social medias with different athletes that are doing stuff at home in their gym, and all they want to do is get out there with their friends, people that they've got a common goal and a common sporting interest with, and just do it together. So I'm really hoping that we've been doing a bloody good job at the moment of what we're doing in lockdown. I'm great we're not going back until Monday, so it gives everyone that time to get prepared. Like me and Zach went out for a bike ride today. Cambridge was pretty busy on the roads, and I know that those guys are just going back. Let's get it sorted. We're going to keep our front door shut. You line up, one in, one out, whatever it's going to be, so we can get the shit out of the way, so we can just carry on with what we're doing. And like here, while I'm here, buddy, clap to Jacinda, because what we're doing is
I agree.
a good job.
She's bloody good. She really is. Hey, let's have that game of golf. I'd really enjoy that. You're a great man. Thank you so much for your time.
No sweat.
Enjoy the evening.
Will do, buddy. Thanks, Sean.
All right, thanks, brother. Bye.